Have you ever had someone walk out of your life only to come back later, full of regrets and promises, hoping you'll take them back? But deep down you wonder, should you? This isn't just about them, it's about you, your worth, your growth, and your future. Let's talk about why going back isn't always the answer, and why protecting your peace is the greatest act of self-love you'll ever do. Have you ever had someone walk out of your life thinking they could just stroll back in whenever it suited them? Like you're some revolving door. Just a revolving door, just waiting for them to decide? Let me tell you something, you are not that. You are not someone's afterthought, someone's backup plan, or a convenience. People who fail to see your value when they have, you don't deserve the chance to come running back once they realize what they lost. And trust me, they will realize it. The day will come when they wake up and see just how much they let slip through their fingers. But by then, it'll be too late to mend what they broke, too late to reclaim what they carelessly threw away. Life has a way of teaching us who belongs in our story, and who doesn't. When someone walks out of your life, it can hit hard. It feels like a gut punch, like the world is crumbling around you. You thought they were in it for the long haul, whether it was a relationship, a friendship, or someone you trusted deeply. And when they let you down, it stings. It cuts deep. But here's the truth, not everyone is meant to stay in your life forever. Not everyone is meant to walk the whole journey with you. Just because they walked away doesn't mean they should be allowed to walk back in. The reality is they will regret losing you. When someone chooses to leave, they make a choice to leave something precious behind. Most of the time, they don't even realize what they're losing. But time has a way of sharpening clarity. Those same people who took you for granted, who didn't see your worth, will one day realize they let go of something extraordinary. They'll come to see that what they were searching for was right there in front of them all along. But by the time they figure that out, it'll be too late. And that's where the real lesson lies. Just because they regret it, just because they want to come back, doesn't mean you should let them. You need to understand your worth. You are not a second choice. You are not someone's fallback plan. You are not a safe haven for when their other options fail. When someone walks away from you, they've made their decision, and decisions have consequences. They don't get to waltz back in simply because they've realized what they lost. People will come and go from your life, that's just how it is. Some will be there for a reason, some for a season, and a select few for a lifetime. But the ones who are meant to stay, they won't leave. The people who are truly part of your journey won't walk away when things get tough. They won't abandon you when you need them most. They'll stick by your side through it all. Those are the ones you hold on to, not the ones who leave and try to come back when it's convenient for them. I get it, letting go is hard. When someone you care about leaves, it's natural to cling to the hope that they'll return, that things can go back to the way they were. You hope for change, for the past to rewrite itself into something better. It's human to want that. But ask yourself this: do you really want to go back to someone who didn't value you the first time? Do you want to hand your heart to someone who was willing to walk away as if you were just an option? Because the truth is, if they didn't value you before, they're unlikely to value you now. People don't change that easily. Regret doesn't equal transformation. Sure, they might regret losing you, but regret doesn't mean they've become someone new. Regret doesn't mean they'll suddenly treat you the way you deserve to be treated. You can't build a future on someone's regret. You need to understand this deeply. Your time, energy, and love are precious. They are not things you hand out freely, especially to those who fail to appreciate them. When someone walks away, they're making a statement. They're showing you through their actions that they don't deserve what you have to offer. Even if they don't say it outright, their actions speak louder than words. So when they try to come back, remember the choice they made. Remember the consequences of that choice. They left, and now they have to live with it. When someone leaves you, they don't just walk away from you. They leave behind everything you brought into their life. They leave the love, support, encouragement, and belief you poured into them. They leave behind all the ways you uplifted them when no one else would. At first, they might convince themselves that they made the right decision, that the grass is greener on the other side, but eventually they'll feel the emptiness. They'll miss what they had. And when that realization hits, they'll come running back, hoping you'll open the door. But here's the thing: just because someone misses you doesn't mean they've changed. Regret doesn't equal growth. Apologies don't equal transformation. You deserve more than being someone's backup plan. You deserve more than being treated as an option. The fact that they regret losing you doesn't erase the fact that they walked away in the first place. And if they left once, chances are they'll do it again. Because if they didn't see your worth the first time, they're not likely to see it the second time either. You've got to protect your value. You've got to stand firm and say no when they try to come back. As hard as it is, you have to close that door. Because you can't move forward if you're always looking back. You can't step into the future that's meant for you if you're clinging to the past that hurt you. When someone walks out of your life, that's the universe telling you they don't belong in your future. It's life's way of showing you that something better is waiting ahead. Something greater is waiting for you, something far better than what you had before. But you'll never find it if you keep holding on to people who don't see your worth. You'll never discover what's meant for you if you continue letting people back into your life who failed to appreciate you the first time around. I know it's hard. It's hard to close the door on someone you care about. It's hard to let go of the hope that maybe, just maybe, they've changed. That this time, things might be different. But hope alone isn't enough. Real change requires action. It requires consistency. And if someone hasn't proven through their actions that they've truly changed, then letting them back in will only set you up for more of the same heartbreak. You are too valuable, too important, and too worthy to settle for someone who couldn't see your greatness when they had the chance. And here's the truth: people will regret losing you. They'll regret it. Because they'll eventually realize, maybe too late, that what you brought into their life was extraordinary. You were the light in their darkest moments. You were the one who stood by them when no one else would. You believed in them, even when they doubted themselves. But just because they realize that now doesn't mean they deserve a second chance. You don't owe anyone a second chance. You don't owe anyone an explanation for moving forward. When someone makes the choice to leave your life, that's their decision, and they have to live with the consequences. Meanwhile, you get to live with the freedom of knowing that you deserve better. You deserve someone who sees your worth right from the start, someone who doesn't need to lose you to understand how valuable you are. And here's the beauty of it: when you stop letting people back in who don't deserve a place in your life, you create space for the people who do. You make room for the kind of love, friendship, and support that is real, genuine, and lasting. You open yourself up to relationships built on mutual respect, love, and appreciation. So don't take them back. Let them regret losing you. Let them sit with the weight of their decision. Let them come to terms with the fact that they had something good and let it slip away. That's not your burden to carry, it's theirs. You have your own life to live, your own dreams to chase, and your own goals to accomplish. You don't have time to waste on people who didn't value you when they had the chance. Remember this: you are worthy of love that doesn't make you question your value. You are worthy of relationships that don't leave you feeling like you have to prove yourself. You deserve people who see your greatness from the very beginning, who treasure your presence, and who never take you for granted. So let them regret losing you. Let them realize what they lost, but don't take them back. You deserve better than be someone's second thought. You deserve to be someone's priority, someone's first choice. And the moment you understand that, the moment you believe it, you'll stop settling for less. You'll stop letting people back into your life who didn't value you the first time around. That's when you'll find the love, support, and relationships you truly deserve. But here's the thing: you've grown since then. You've changed. You've evolved. You're not the same person they walked away from. The experiences, challenges, and heartaches you faced have shaped you into someone stronger, wiser, and fully aware of what you deserve. The truth is, the version of you they left behind no longer exists. They walked away when you were at a certain point in your life, but that version of you is gone. You've moved forward, and because of that, you can't let them back in. You can't return to what was, because you've outgrown it. Letting them back would mean going backward, back to a place of doubt, insecurity, and pain. It would mean reopening old wounds you worked so hard to heal. And for what? For the slim chance that maybe this time they'll finally see your worth. For the fragile hope that maybe this time they'll appreciate the person you've become. No, you're better than that. You deserve better than that. Let me tell you something: people who didn't value you when you were in their life don't deserve to be with you now that you've leveled up. They don't get to come back and benefit from your growth. They don't get to enjoy the rewards of your hard work, your success, or your evolution if they weren't willing to stand by you through the tough times. That's not how life works. People often want to return when they see you thriving, when they see you happy, successful, and whole without them. It's human nature for them to want a piece of that. But just because someone wants back into your life doesn't mean you should let them in. They left. They made their choice. And the consequence of that choice is that they don't get to experience the incredible person you've become. They don't get to be close to your joy, your strength, or your growth. That's the price they pay for walking away. And here's the kicker: when you don't take them back, when you stand firm and keep moving forward without them, that's when they'll feel it the most. That's when they'll truly regret losing you, because they'll see that you didn't need them to become who you were meant to be. They'll see that you thrived without them, that you grew stronger, that you found joy, peace, and happiness on your own. And that realization will hit them hard. They'll come to understand they didn't just lose a relationship, they lost someone irreplaceable. When you let someone back into your life after they've hurt you, you're essentially telling them their actions were acceptable. You're saying, you can walk away from me, and I'll still be here waiting. But you're not that person anymore. You're not the person who waits around for someone to realize your worth. You're the person who knows their value and refuses to settle for anything less than what they deserve. Taking them back would mean lowering your standards. And you've worked far too hard to become the person you are now to compromise for someone who couldn't appreciate you in the first place. Here's the truth: not everyone deserves to be in your life. Not everyone is entitled to access you. Just because someone wants to come back doesn't mean you should let them. Just because they regret losing you doesn't mean they've earned the right to return. You've grown, you've leveled up, and not everyone gets to come along for the journey. Some people were only meant to be in your life for a season, and their season is over. It's time to move on to the next chapter, a chapter that doesn't include people who failed to value you when they had the chance. It's natural to crave closure, to want to revisit the comfort of what was, to rekindle relationships that once brought joy. But ask yourself, is it worth it? Is it worth reopening old wounds? Is it worth jeopardizing your peace, your progress, and your happiness for someone who didn't appreciate you before? The answer is no. You've worked too hard to heal. You've spent too much effort rebuilding yourself to let someone back into your life just because they regret their decisions. Let them live with their regret. Let them learn from it. But don't take them back. When someone leaves, they often convince themselves they're doing what's best for them. They think they're moving on to something bigger, something better. And for a while, they might even believe that. But eventually, they'll realize the truth. They'll see that no one else can give them what you gave. They'll come to understand that the grass isn't greener on the other side. And when that realization hits, they'll come running back, hoping you'll welcome them. But by then, you'll have grown. You'll have evolved. You'll be stronger, wiser, and more confident in who you are and what you deserve. You'll understand that taking them back would mean moving backward, and you're too focused on moving forward to entertain that. When you don't take them back, you're sending a powerful message not just to them, but to yourself. You're affirming that you deserve more. You're proclaiming your own growth, your own strength, and your own resilience. That's transformative. That's empowering. And here's the beauty of it: by not taking them back, you create space for something better. You open yourself up to relationships built on mutual respect, love, and appreciation. You make room for people who see your worth from the beginning, who value you not for what you can do for them, but for who you truly are. You allow the kind of love, the kind of connection, and the kind of support that lifts you up rather than holds you back. You've come too far to go back now. You've grown too much to settle for less than you deserve. You've leveled up, and not everyone gets a ticket to join you on this ride. Let them regret losing you. Let them sit with the weight of their choices. You, on the other hand, get to live with the freedom, confidence, and peace that comes from knowing you didn't need them to become who you were meant to be. Keep moving forward. Keep striving for more. Keep growing into the person you were destined to become. Because here's the truth: your value doesn't decrease just because someone failed to see it. You are worth more than being someone's second thought. More than being someone's regret. You are worth more than you even realize, and you deserve people who see that from the start. So let them go. Let them regret losing you, and keep moving forward. By the time they realize what they lost, it'll be too late. You'll have moved on to bigger and better things. You'll have found a new path, one unburdened by the weight of people who didn't appreciate you. You'll have discovered relationships with people who truly value you, who see what you bring to the table. and who would never dream of walking away from someone like you. Those are the people who deserve to be in your life. Those are the ones who earn your time, your energy, and your love. Because your time and energy are valuable. You've learned that now you don't just give those things to anyone. You don't let people come into your life and take up space without giving back in return. And when they come back, and trust me, they will come back, you need to remember that you owe them nothing. You don't owe them your time. You don't owe them your energy. You don't owe them forgiveness. They made their choice when they walked away, and now it's time for you to make yours. Choose to keep moving forward. Choose to keep growing. Choose to keep evolving into the person you were always meant to be, the person you've become, while they were off chasing something they thought was better. Because here's the reality, people who don't appreciate you when they have, you won't appreciate you when they come back. It's easy for them to return with apologies and regrets, promising that things will be different. But regret doesn't mean they've changed. Regret simply means they're feeling the weight of their actions. It means they're realizing what they lost, and now they want back in. But that's not your problem. It's not your job to fix what they broke. It's not your responsibility to pretend things can go back to how they were. Because they can't. Things can't go back to the way they were, because you're no longer the person you were when they left. You've grown, you've evolved, and they don't deserve a place in the life of the person you've become. Think about it, you put in the work. You've faced the heartache and disappointment, and you've emerged stronger. You've come too far to look back now. You've built yourself up brick by brick, piece by piece. You've learned to love yourself, value yourself, and truly understand your worth. And now, after all that growth, they want to come back and be part of your life again. No, it doesn't work like that. They don't get to leave you and then waltz back in, expecting you to be the same person who once waited around for them. They don't get to skip the struggle and show up for the reward. They don't get to miss out on your transformation and act as if nothing's changed, because everything has changed. You've changed. You've changed. You've learned that your time is precious. You've learned that not everyone deserves access to your life. You've come to understand that your energy is sacred, and it's not something you just give away to anyone. So when they come back, you need to ask yourself, do they deserve the person I've become? And most of the time, the answer will be no. Most of the time, the person who left you when you were down isn't the one who should be around when you're up. Here's the truth. When someone walks out of your life, they're sending a clear message. They're telling you that they don't value what you bring to the table. They're showing you that they didn't appreciate your love, your support, or the energy you poured into them. And you've got to believe them. You've got to take their actions at face value. You can't sit around hoping that one day they'll realize what they lost. Because by the time they do, it'll be too late. You'll have moved on. You'll have found people who see your worth from the very beginning, people who don't need to leave to figure out how valuable you are. Those are the people who deserve a place in your life, not the ones who left. Not the ones who've become the ones who only come back when regret starts to sting. You've got to protect your peace. You've got to guard your energy. You need to make sure that the people in your life are there because they value and respect you, not because they regret letting you go. Regret isn't the same as love. Regret isn't the same as appreciation. Regret is simply them feeling the consequences of their own choices. But those consequences, they're not your responsibility. Your job is to keep moving forward. Your job is to chase your dreams, to keep building the life you want, and to continue becoming the best version of yourself. You don't have the time or the energy to go backward. You don't have the luxury of revisiting old wounds and reopening scars you've worked so hard to heal. Don't undo all the progress you've made just because someone returns with a little regret in their heart. Regret doesn't change the past. Regret doesn't mean they've earned the right to be part of your future. They made their choice, and now you need to make yours. Choose yourself. Choose your growth, your peace, your happiness. Because at the end of the day, you're the one responsible for your own joy and jeopardizing that. It's simply not worth it. It's not worth revisiting doubt and insecurity just because someone realized too late what they had. Stand firm in your decision to move forward. Stand firm in your decision to prioritize yourself. That doesn't make you selfish, it makes you wise. It shows that you know your worth and value your happiness, peace, and future too much to let someone else disrupt it. You've come too far to go back now. And here's the thing, people always try to come back when they see you thriving. When they see you happy, successful, and living your best life without them, that's when they'll come knocking. They'll want back in, because they'll finally see what they missed. They'll see the life you've built for yourself, and want to be a part of it. But you need to remember, they weren't there when you were building. They weren't there when you were struggling, when you were working on yourself. If they couldn't appreciate you during the hard times, they don't deserve to be around during the good ones. Your growth, your success, your happiness, they're yours. You don't owe them to anyone. The people who get to share in those things are the ones who saw your worth from the start. The ones who didn't need to walk away to understand how valuable you are. Those are the people who deserve your time, your energy, your love. Not the ones who left. Not the ones who only come back because they see you doing well. So when they come back, and trust me, you've got to be ready. You've got to be strong enough to say no. Strong enough to protect the life you've built. Strong enough to keep moving forward, even when it's tempting to look back. You deserve better than what they gave you before. You deserve more than second chances and apologies born out of regret. You deserve someone who values you from the moment they meet you, someone who doesn't need to lose you, appreciate you. At the end of the day, you have to choose yourself. Choose your happiness, your peace, and your growth. That's what matters most, not the regret of someone who failed to see your worth the first time around. So keep moving forward. Keep growing. Keep chasing your dreams. And remember, you don't owe anyone a second chance at something they didn't value in the first place. Protecting your peace isn't optional, it's essential. Protecting your heart means making tough decisions. It means shutting the door on people who didn't value you when they had the chance. It means saying no to those who failed to see your worth. Because here's the truth, if they didn't see your value before, what makes you think they'll see it now? If they couldn't treat you right the first time, what makes you believe they've changed? People can say anything, but actions speak louder than words. And the reality is, someone who walked away from you once is unlikely to suddenly become the person you deserve, just because they're feeling regret. Regret is powerful, but it's not enough. It's not enough for you to hand them your heart again. It's not enough for you to open that door and pretend nothing ever happened. Regret is about them, about their feelings, their losses, their choices. But you've been moving forward. You've been growing, evolving, and becoming the best version of yourself. If you let them back in, you risk undoing all that progress. You risk returning to a place where you questioned your worth and doubted your value. Will you let someone else dictate your happiness? Protecting your peace means knowing when to walk away. It means understanding that sometimes an apology isn't enough. Sometimes promises to do better aren't enough. You need more than words, you need actions, consistency, and someone who values you from the very beginning, not someone who realizes your worth only after they've lost you. That's why when they come back with their apologies, regrets, and promises, you need to stand firm in your decision. Remember who you are, what you've been through, and how much you've grown. You're no longer the person they walked away from. You've evolved. You've become stronger, wiser, and more confident in who you are and what you deserve. And because of that growth, they no longer have a place in your life. It's not easy, I know. It's hard to walk away from someone you cared about. It's hard to close the door on a relationship that once meant something to you. But at the end of the day, you have to put yourself first. You have to value yourself enough to know you deserve better. You deserve someone who sees your worth from the start. Someone who doesn't need to lose you to realize what they had. Someone who treats you right the first time. Not someone who comes crawling back, full of regrets, after walking away. When they regret losing you, and trust me, you need to be ready. You have to be strong enough to stand your ground, because they'll try to come back. They'll try to slip back into your life with sweet words and promises of change. But you have to remember how far you've come. Remember the nights you spent piecing your heart back together. Remember the days you spent rebuilding yourself after they left. You've worked too hard, grown too much, to let someone who didn't see your worth the first time around back into your life. Let me tell you, they regret losing you. They'll see you thriving without them. They'll see you happy, successful, living your life, and they'll feel the weight of their decision to walk away. But that's not your concern. Their regret is not your problem. Your focus should be on yourself, your growth, and your future. You have to keep moving forward. Keep becoming the person you were always meant to be. Because if you start looking back, if you entertain the idea of letting them back in, you risk going backward. You risk reopening old wounds and revisiting old pain. And for what? For the chance that maybe this time they'll treat you better. No, you're better than that. You deserve more than that. Life is about growth. It's about constantly evolving and moving forward. Part of that growth is learning to let go of people who no longer serve you, people who no longer fit into the life you're building. It's about recognizing that not everyone is meant to stay in your life forever. Some people are only there for a season. Some are there to teach you a lesson, to help you grow. And once that lesson is learned, you have to let them go. You have to be willing to close that chapter and start a new one. I know it's hard. I know it's tempting to take them back, to give them another chance. But you have to ask yourself why. Why would you go back to someone who didn't appreciate you the first time? Why would you give your heart to someone who was willing to walk away? You have to understand that your time, your energy, your love, they're precious. They're valuable. And you don't just give them to anyone. You don't hand them over to people who can't appreciate them, people who don't respect them, people who don't see them for the gift they truly are. When someone walks out of your life, they're telling you they don't deserve that gift. They're telling you they're not worthy of what you have to offer. And when they try to come back, you need to remember that. Remember their choice. Remember that they walked away and now they have to live with that decision. Their regret is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to yourself. It's to protect your peace, to guard your heart, to keep moving forward without looking back. Because here's the truth, people who don't appreciate you when they have you won't appreciate you when they come back. They might regret losing you, but regret doesn't mean they've changed. It doesn't mean they'll suddenly treat you the way you deserve to be treated. It just means they're feeling the consequences of their actions. And that's not your burden to carry. That's theirs. Your job is to keep moving forward, to keep chasing your dreams, to keep becoming the best version of yourself. I know it's tough to close the door on someone you cared about. It's hard to walk away from a relationship that once meant so much to you. But sometimes walking away is the best thing you can do for yourself. Sometimes letting go is the only way to truly grow. You have to be willing to leave behind the people who no longer serve you, who no longer add value to your life. That's not selfish, it's smart. It's being someone who knows their worth, someone who knows they deserve better than someone who didn't appreciate them the first time around. So when they come back, and trust me, you need to be ready. You have to be strong enough to say no. Strong enough to protect your peace, your heart, and your happiness. You've come too far to go back now. You've done too much growing, too much healing, to let someone who didn't see your worth back into your life. You deserve better. You deserve someone who sees your value from the start. Someone who doesn't need to lose you to realize how important you are. At the end of the day, you have to choose yourself. You have to choose your happiness, your peace, and your growth. Because that's what matters most, not the regret of someone who failed to see your worth the first time around. Keep moving forward. Keep growing. Keep chasing your dreams. And remember, you don't owe anyone a second chance at something they didn't value in the first place. Value yourself enough to know you deserve better. You deserve someone who appreciates you, values you, and sees your worth from the very beginning. You don't have time to waste on people who didn't realize what they had until it was gone. You don't have time to revisit old wounds or entertain the regrets of someone who failed to value you when they had a chance. You have to keep moving forward. Keep growing. Keep becoming the person you were always meant to be, and never look back. Your future is too bright, too full of possibilities to be held back by the past. You've got too much potential, too much greatness to be weighed down by people who didn't know how to appreciate you the first time around. So protect your peace, guard your heart, and keep moving forward.